as we're thinking about that game, I was going through a number of nerd things, as you know I am wont to do.
Go figure.
Oh, word.
Go figure.
You know, I am who I am, and I don't apologize
No kidding.
for that. Well, actually, sometimes I apologize for it, let's be honest. But the question that I have is it possible that we see a complete opposite of what we've been speculating from this Texans offense?
Explain yourself.
All right, so us on this program, and I think larger as a Texans football watching populace, we've been looking at this Texas team like, all right, this seems like it's built to run the damn ball,
And it is.
and that is going to be the way they go about this, right? We've seen the comparisons to early career Tom Brady Patriots, where they ran the damn ball, right? Offensive line trying to get themselves right, the nastiness, all these things seem to point to an offense that runs the football. But what if I take you to the place where we look at what this team is going to have across from them with the Rams?
Right.
Seth has done a great job of pointing us to something that Nick Caserio also pointed out with Sean and Seth a couple days ago, which is Poona Ford is joining that defensive line. And he is a big run-stuffing type of person. We talked to Sarah Barshop about it yesterday, and she also talked about how that should help them. Yeah, absolutely, be a difference maker in the middle of that defense. We don't know just how well this offensive line is going to run block in these circumstances. But what I can tell you, looking at that Rams team, especially with the game plan offense that Nick Caley has talked about, that secondary is, the word that came to mind there was not one I should say on air. Not very good. I was looking at, and you guys are going to laugh at me, Aaron Schatz's FTN football almanac. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was looking at the almanac, and he highlighted the fact that this secondary was not very good last year, and it's not like they made any real efforts to make it better. This was just not, like the corners in coverage weren't very good. By DVOA standards, they didn't have a single cornerback finishing in the top 40 in coverage. They don't have anybody to stop nobody that you got throwing out there. But they do have people to maybe try and stop the run. And so path of least resistance in my mind goes, throw the football on them. Is it possible that they just lean into that, the Texans do?
I think what it's going to be kind of a litmus test of is a lot of teams, including the Texans in the past, not this regime, but Bill O'Brien was always about, we're a game plan offense, this and that. And then they ended up doing the same stuff, all the time anyway. But this team has talked a lot about being a game plan offense. So I think there's going to be a good test of that. I'm not saying they're not, they're clearly going to run the ball, and they might try to establish the run, and who knows, they might have success, and there you go. But the way they're built, especially with the question marks at the receiver position, you would suspect that this is going to be a run-first team just in general, right?
I think so.
But given what you are talking about there, to enable the ability to get rid of the ball, the ability or lack of ability to maybe run the ball, if they're a true game plan offense, they probably will throw a little more than we might suspect, And
I can give you even more that points to the idea that if you have somebody who's in tune, or if the Rams defense looks anything like it did last year, there's going to be opportunities. Does this sound like a food of a defense for you? 34% of pass attempts from the Rams last year, while they were getting pressure, so this is while they're able to generate pressure, went to open receivers, 2 to 5 yards of separation. And then that is the fourth most in the league as of last year. So even when they were managing to get pressure, so let's say that the offensive line for the Texans is so-so in their first outing. If the Rams perform like they did last year, you'll still have open receivers to throw to.
Right.
And then on top of that, nearly half of the attempts that they had that went to wide open receivers, that's what happened even when they were having pressure. Nearly half of those went to wide open receivers. Like, it just feels like when you have all this situation, and then, of course, you have a Nico Collins over here without any one defensive back that can guard him one up.
Yeah.
Or if you do try and throw things over there, you have the likes of these other receivers that you're beginning to develop a relationship with that should have opportunities to either get open or get the ball in space. This just feels like it is set up perfectly for C.J. Stroud to do the thing that we know he wants to do, throw the ball around the yard.
It is, except I think that actually leads to the point of Christian Kirk didn't practice yesterday.
And it's a hamstring designation.
Yeah, and it's a hamstring. Braxton Berrios didn't practice yesterday. I don't know what, part of the offense on a down-to-down basis he might have. But nevertheless, so it also leads to, yes, there might be some opportunities to throw the ball, but you're going to be throwing out there Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, guys that we have confidence in based on the preseason, but it's the preseason, man. And this is when it counts the most. What kind of success, what kind of confidence are you going to have in those guys as the game progresses?
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting place to get to. Again, you like to say it. You said it yesterday. I imagine you'll say it at least once or twice before we get to the end of this week. Friday's designation is the one that really tells you a little bit about what's happening. It's Friday's practice. So today's Thursday. We'll get a little bit more data when we get the injury report after practice today. But still, what we will find out and whether, Christian Kirk in particular or just any wide receiver in general plays is probably going to be what happens Friday. However, if Christian Kirk doesn't play, and, with the questions that you put up with some of these wide receivers, who stands to gain the most from this, what seems like fertile opportunity to throw the football against this Rams team? Because I feel like it's Jalen Noel.
It probably is Jalen Noel. That's the guy that I think we both agree as and a lot of people have agreed, has had the best opportunity to really develop this preseason. But beyond that,
wait, before we go beyond that, I think that it's twofold as well. Like Christian Kirk maybe not playing is one of the obvious ones. You immediately get him in more of that slot opportunity, and he clearly has demonstrated opportunity to get separation now in training camp. Does that separation continue? Well, I would hope so against a team that has not been able to, stop wide receivers from getting separation. So this feels like a good easing into the NFL with a defense that does not seem capable of locking up dudes. Also, you mentioned Braxton Berrios. He's first on the depth chart return-wise. Jalen Noel is the next guy. So an opportunity to also get himself into the game by getting the ball in his hands by just catching it out of the sky and running.
Yeah, and the other thing for me is Xavier Hutchinson really the real deal?
That's the one.
Is he really the guy that can, because he had a few moments here and there, but he wasn't consistently, getting open last year or consistently looked at. So right now you have a defense that is susceptible, that is good, but it's susceptible to the pass, and you have receivers that are really the only sure thing you have is Nico Collins. I mean, that even if you want to talk about tight ends, we're not exactly sure, how good Dalton Schultz is going to be. I mean, he, obviously he's a pass catcher first, but it's an interesting dynamic. I think what's really gonna be a tell, and I'm relatively sure, although they haven't told us, that Nick Caley is a real script guy. Just his background, his pedigree. We're going to see the script early and see where they think they might be able to, first 15, first 20, whatever it is.
You think that'll tell us kind of the way that they want to go about this game?
What they think they can exploit with this defense. And also, he's a guy that went with Sean McVay. Sean McVay's entire plan is to exploit mismatches. So I think the script and the receivers they go to and the success they have early is going to say a lot about this game.
I want to echo something you said just to highlight it even further. The second dude that I was thinking of as possibility to benefit most is Xavier Hutchinson. We saw him seemingly grow in opportunities when Brevin Jordan got hurt, unfortunately, and that seemed to, does he get those big slot opportunities or whatever? Jaden Higgins is probably the receiver in that room that is on the higher side, on, I guess, the top half of that room that I go, I'm not sure exactly what we're getting early on, and I see you, Cam, saying that you're probably going to put in a ticket for, anytime touchdown for Jaden Higgins. I like the way you're thinking. However, it seems like they trust Xavier Hutchinson in a way that maybe they have a respect and a belief in Higgins, but I don't know that you have that same trust, and we'll see it develop in week one. That could be the dude who stands to benefit a decent amount, knowing that he probably gets open while also probably having more of the respect and trust in week one from this offense.
Texter also said, Reggie, you're thinking too much right now.
I'm just a thinking ass fool. I know.
I don't think so. It makes sense. If you're in the NFL, your job is to exploit mismatches and where you think you have the advantage. But I do think we're also going to get that tell. Are they really hell-bent on running the ball, even against a defense, that is going to be so good against the run? This is going to be an intriguing game, and I want to get into this a little bit later. I think it's going to be one of the best tests just overall in terms of this defense on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Maybe I am thinking too much because on the other side, and we did mention, they added a big body in the middle. I think you could even call him, I think some scouts would use a trash can full of dirt. It's not going to be easy to move Poona forward. That's one of the benefits of him stopping the run. However, before they added him, last year the Rams ranked 29th with just a 14% stuff rate and 24th with 4.5 yards per carry allowed when it came to running backs. So running the football on this team wasn't abysmal either. So unless Poona Ford comes in and makes them an entirely different run defense, which we will see, there might still be the opportunity to run the football too. It just might be that day.
Yeah.
So it might not be that they fully shift what's happening and they're able to run the football a decent amount, still make that a focus, and then when they do go to the pass, have more success. But I just looked at that and I go, ooh, big old glaring hole, right? As you mentioned, when you make the game at its most simplest, it's about blocking and tackling. And then you go up to the next level and you go, where is the place that I should attack? Where is the mark? Where is the easy porthole in the Death Star or whatever?
Yeah.
And I feel like you look at this Rams defense and you go, hey, defensive secondary, I'm on y'all's ass today.
But then, what do we have that can exploit that? What do we know we have? They have Nico
Collins, and we'll see.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeing what that continues to look like with this Texas team when they go out for week 1.